Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Vio here and we're back with another free MMR tutorial. As everyone knows, we're now in patch 7.35C and most of the meta heroes in the offlane are melee heroes. As you can see from Dota 2 Pro Tracker, the top 6 most picked offlane heroes are Mars, Timber, Centaur, Dragon Knight, Doom and Magnus, which are all melee. So today's video is going to be on 3 laning tricks that would make laning as a melee hero a breeze. And it will also be inclusive of a high level mechanic that you can slowly practice and apply to dominate your lane. Let's get into it. The 3 laning tricks that we are going to be talking about, the first one would be aggroing to the correct side of the map in both Dire and Radiant. This will consist of showing you which side is going to be the safer side and how you can play accordingly to get the best out of the aggro that you have just done. And the second one would be how you should play with your position 4 if he's a melee hero or a range hero based on hero you're paired with. And the last thing, probably the most important thing, would be to always try to get the lane up, because as a melee hero the hardest part would be dealing with harass and also trading. So getting the lane up just opens up the map for your position 4 to do a lot more, and also it makes it a lot more safer for yourself. So yeah, these are the 3 things, and let's just go straight into the demo, which we can show you how this should be done. Now I'm going to use Mars because it's one of the heroes I'm mainly playing the most right now. Okay, so I think the first thing about aggro is that we should know is that at the start of your game and in your lane, you will be mainly prioritizing denying the range creep and last hitting the enemy range creep. So in order to make sure you get the level advantage over your opponents, and there are a few ways to do this. So first thing would be to use spells to secure the enemy range creep, and the second thing would also be to aggro the enemy creeps towards your range creep, and that can be done by, let me just set up the map right now. So we have an enemy hero here. Let's just go to our max level so we don't have to do anything. I mean, the way to die. And also, let's just place a ward there so I can see. Alright, so what you want to do is basically just right click the enemy hero and pull the creep wave towards your range creep. And when this happens, what you're going to do is that every time the range creep is in deny range, you're going to try to make sure that you're the one that ends up getting the deny on the creep, and at the same time you might want to use your spells to make sure you can secure the enemy range creep. So just like what I did, say free spells, I'm going to do this. So that way I did damage to him and also I got the range creep. And the next most important thing, likewise how you use your spells to secure a range creep, enemies can also do the same. So if you're going to talk about a high level mechanic here, what we're going to do is that when the range creep is almost in range for deny, you're going to aggro it. So now you're taking aggro and the range creep is not exactly taking the full damage. So if let's say the enemy has a spell, you might be able to mess his timing up or basically screw up his CS so that he cannot actually secure it and you will get the range creep deny. Okay, so that's the main part about the aggro. And okay, the last thing that I'm going to just show you, I'm going to have to pull us out of the demo. I'm going to show you this through a replay. In case you guys want to know, I'm actually just studying a lot of MMR ATS replays because I believe he's the best offlaner in the world right now, and yeah, so can learn the most from him. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just show you guys for Radiant and Dire, which is the 2 sides that is better to aggro, and keep the creeps here so that it's just safer for you. Eventually all this will just add up to you helping you win the lane. Okay, think of it from the point of view as a position 5 support. Most of the time you'd want to be, if you're a position 5 on the Dire, you'd want to be playing more towards the this side of the map, means around the jungle side, which is on the right side of the map. So what you want to do is actually, as an offlane, is you want to keep trying to aggregate towards the left side. This way it becomes harder for it takes it's a longer distance for the position 5 to walk over to hit you. And also if they would want to try to hit you, they might have to aggro creeps and ruin the lane for the carry. And also another thing is that your position 4 will generally be playing on the right side as well. So I'm going to bring this up later on in the second trick that I want to talk about, is how you should play with your position 4. So I won't talk about that too much here. But basically, yeah, you want to make sure you try to aggro more towards the left side of the lane. This way it's just easier for you to OutCS the carry, and it sort of becomes a 1v1. So now it just comes down to how mechanically good you are in terms of last hitting. And if you're playing on the Dire side, the position 5 of the Radiant would likely be playing in the jungle over here, so that they would be out of 500 attack range, and it will be easier for them to harass. So another thing that is good to note for everybody, if you're a support player or a core player, either offlane or mid or carry, I think it's good to know that creeps and towers don't aggro if you right click someone or if you attack someone from more than 500 range. So 500 range is about, it's actually a range creep's maximum range, okay? So if you can judge, basically it's like a circle around here. So if let's say Saberlight was somewhere here and he had right click this right click Skitter, which is a life stealer, if he were to come all the way and start hitting Skitter for around 3 seconds, he would take no aggro from these melee creeps. The range creep might be aggro because it's still in range. It's under 500 for when Saberlight hit him. So yeah, that's a good thing to note. So okay, let's not stray away. So if you're a Dire offlane and you know that the Radiant position 5 likes to play from the jungle side, you'd want to aggro the lane more towards the right side. So this way it's safer, and also you have some trees for cover, or your pos 4 can also play around here, making it easier for him to just put in some auto attacks on the carry. That's trick number 1. It's basically aggroing to the safer side of the lane, making it a lot easier for you to play, and you would take a lot less harass. Also, if let's say your opponents are a bit crazy and they just start throwing everything on you and they don't care about harass and they are trying to trade off regen, make sure that if you feel that you're already going to be needing regen in like the next minute or so, try to pull regen immediately. So just buy an extra set of tangos or something like that. Okay, so the second trick that we're going to be talking about is how you should play with your position 4 and how you should actually position yourself depending on whether the position 4 is a melee hero or a range hero. Okay, as you can see just from this video itself, you can see that Saberlight, okay, they're both just contesting for the range creep, but Teoliko is always going to be on somewhere close up to Saberlight. This way, because Teoliko is playing a Hoodwink, so he's a range hero, and what you're going to do is that you want to maximize your efficiency when it comes to trading, and this can only be done because Saberlight is unfortunately a melee hero. So whatever you do, as long as you're going to go for a creep, even though you've aggroed it or not, there will come a point where the opponents can just right click you a little bit. So what you want to do is you want to make sure your position 4 is in position to at least trade that harass away from, so that it's an even trade, okay? This can be done by putting yourself slightly closer to your position 4. So in this case, as you can see, Saberlight is not very far off from Teoliko, but of course this requires a bit of synergy and chemistry between the position 4 and you, but which is highly unlikely in a pub game. But the higher you go, your position 4s roughly know these better. Even in my rank, like I'm ranked 4k Immortal, and that doesn't really happen. So you just have to make do. But the more you know, and if you're ever in that position, like, you know what to do. So now we're talking about when your position 4 is a range hero. What if the position 4 is a melee hero? So what you want to do is that if you are a range hero, you'd want to be able to position yourself like in the opposite. How Teoliko is standing, you'd want your position 4 to be in front of you, and that way that if they will want to come and harass you, they'll have to go through him. And most of the time, enemy heroes wouldn't want to waste so much of their spells and their resources on a support. They would rather throw everything on a core. Basically, you're using the position 4 as a body for you. Last thing would also be, as an offlane, you cannot also forget that trading harass is actually important. So not only are you going to be focusing on creeps, but if let's say your position 4 is a melee hero and he is bodying for you, you have got to make sure that you also get some harass in and help him out every time he's taking harass. So yeah, that sums up stuff number 1 and 2. The last thing about trick 2 is that if let's say you're a melee and he's a melee, you want to just be abusing the aggro more, because it's going to be highly unlikely that both of you are going to get a lot of harass in. But if you have creep advantage, means the number of creeps, or as if the guy is out of position, try to take advantage of that. And those kind of things don't really come very often, so if you can see it, please abuse by using your spells and right clicking them as much as you can. Okay, now the last thing, holding the lane up. So what you want to do in an ideal situation for an off lane is that after the first few waves, you want to find a way to get the creep equilibrium all the way up close to your tier 1. And the idea of this is to just make sure that now your pos 4 has a lot of room to play around. So he can play around these trees, he can play around here. And remember what I spoke about just now, where creeps don't get aggroed if they are above, if you are right clicking above 500 range. Also, spells don't aggro creeps. So it's actually, it makes it a lot easier for the pos 4 to put in more harass, and the enemy safe lane is just gonna suffer a lot more from here. It would be even better if you can do so much harass that the pos 1, the enemy pos 1 has to pull more regen. So yeah, that's a real win for you. Okay, so having the lane up here, the other thing to also note is that if you right click from fog, you also don't draw aggro immediately, and you still have that 3-second window. So yep, try to do that. Even if you're an offlane and if you're a range hero like a Razor or something, you can just once in a while fog yourself into the, throw yourself into the fog, right click the enemy carry a little bit, and then get back to trying to maintain creep equilibrium. Now we're going to talk about holding the lane up, right? So in order to bring the lane up here, you gotta use trick 1 and trick 2 a lot. So okay, trick 1 is basically you want to aggro so that you can deny the range creep. Make sure the creeps are more in their advantage but not too much, so that the creeps generally will just push up. And then you want to hold the lane there by making sure you do not right click any creeps. So you just want to focus on last hitting. And denying. You can start denying when your creeps are at 50% HP. So this way, like, they will always have a little bit more creeps than you do. This will just ensure that you keep the creep equilibrium in your favor. And the next thing would be also to, if let's say it so happens that the creep HPs are not in your favor, meaning the enemy creeps are lower HP than your creeps, so the creep equilibrium is technically falling more to your side, meaning you will have more creeps than them. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to aggro this all the way here. Then I'm going to re-aggro again. So all the creeps, yeah, so they have to actually move towards the enemy creeps to get this. And you can see now I'm just pulling the lane further and further ahead. So now they have to, now the melee creeps and all have to walk from here to here, which is actually a longer period for them to move. So actually, I'm actually keeping the wave a little bit more towards my side, and it takes them longer for them to reach the next creep wave, meaning the creeps are going to be held up above in the lane a lot more. So that is technically a high level mechanic. It's not something a lot of people practice, not something a lot of people in my tier as well do. These kind of things are actually pretty good to note, and I think if you can slowly practice them and try to use them in your lanes, it's not something that a lot of people kind of remember very frequently, but if you can and you can apply it, it will make a lot of difference to your laning stage. I believe will affect your win rate in your games. And that is all for today, so do drop a like and subscribe to support this channel if you find this content of value. And also do check out my other socials in the description down below. I post daily on TikTok, Instagram and YouTube Shorts. If you want to know how to get free MMR by abusing a few tricks that Falcon ATF does on Mars, check out this video.